My name is Paul Skeeth. I'm a founding partner at Richards Rodriguez and Skeeth and a business lawyer practicing in Austin, Texas. Today we'll be talking about mergers and acquisitions insurance, which is a type of insurance that buyers and sellers of a business will buy to make sure that there are no unexpected changes to the business after the closing. M&A insurance comes in two flavors. The first is tax insurance to make sure that there isn't some negative tax consequence to the transaction. And the second type of insurance is really the representations and warranties insurance. And that's insurance that there isn't any mistakes in the representations and warranties, the promises made by the seller that were mistaken by accident or that become mistaken after the closing. So tax liability insurance really insures against the possibility that the IRS might consider a different tax result than what the buyer and seller thinks the result should be. So for example, if a seller thinks that they're an S corporation and taxed by an S corporation, and the buyer and seller due diligence and everybody thinks that's the right answer, tax insurance would, for example, cover the IRS saying, no, in fact, you're not an S corporation, and so you have more taxes to pay as a C corporation. On the representations and warranties side, that insurance covers the accuracy of the representations and warranties made by the seller in the actual sale agreement. And this is important because all of those answers that the seller gives, the buyer can hold them to. So it's things like, how much does the business make? Is there any pending litigation? Are there any environmental issues? And during the due diligence process, the buyer and seller get comfortable in knowing the whole universe of potential problems out there. One important thing to remember about M&A insurance in general is that it only covers mistakes. So it only covers those issues that come up that nobody expects. So if someone knows about a problem, M&A insurance is not going to cover that issue, and that will have to be dealt with separately by the buyer and seller in the transaction. M&A insurance facilitates smooth transactions because it takes one of the most contentious points of negotiation off the table, which is how much does the seller get at the closing. And so with M&A insurance, there won't be that holdback from the buyer at the closing, which usually allows both the buyer and seller to come to agreement on all the other terms much more easily. M&A insurance can also reduce post-closing disputes between buyers and sellers because instead of the buyer looking to the seller to make things right, the buyer can now look to an insurance company, and the buyer and seller will be aligned on getting that payment from the insurance company to the buyer. In conclusion, M&A insurance can be a really valuable tool for small and medium-sized business owners who are ready to sell their business. It brings peace of mind, reduces disputes, takes some of the financial pressure off the table, and also puts more money in a business owner's pocket at the closing than would otherwise be without the M&A insurance. When you're ready to sell your business, it definitely makes sense to look at M&A insurance as a tool and to talk about it with your legal advisors and your financial team. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.